Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer. This is part 4, the final part of me and Slcmof's discussion of which movie is better, Civil War or Batman v Superman. Part 3 and part 1 is on his channel and part 2 is already on my channel. So if you missed those, I'll have links in the description to all of them. Definitely go check them out. Also, my mic was turned to peak volume for some reason. I didn't know, like something on my computer changed that setting, so that's why my mic sounds like garbage. Sorry about that. But anyways, nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy these videos because I had a ton of fun making them and discussing this topic with Slcmof. Anyways, here it is.
He has an extreme amount of remorse, and when he approaches him, he doesn't approach him in this attitude of like, "Hey, douchebag, put your gun," like he's more like, "Hey,
like
sorry,
that.
Bruce."
If Lex never would have said anything, done anything to Lois, done anything with his mom, Superman would have showed up to fight Batman.
Where's your evidence of that? How do you have proof of this?
Because he already went after him earlier and was going after him earlier. The only thing Lex did was show him that, okay, Lex is the bad guy, not Batman. That's the only thing Lex did.
But he was stopping him. He was deterring him, not fighting him, not engaging him.
That's what he was going to do. Guess what? When he goes to stop him, but Batman's got a ton of kryptonite, it's going to turn into a fight.
But he doesn't even know what kryptonite was until he got hit with it. that was his first introduction.
He would have been like, okay, I'm going to take this punk in, and then kryptonite, and that's when the fight breaks out.
Okay.
Literally, the fight would have happened without Lex. Lex just made Superman realize, okay, Batman's not the bad guy, Lex is. That's all he did, and then Lex just like, God never saved me from my dad beating me, so Superman's evil. Great motivation right there.
So you're saying if Batman put up the bat signal, and Lex Luthor was not in the equation at all, Lois and Martha were safe, that he would have just gone down and punched him in the same way. Bruce, listen to me. You need to turn the bat signal off because I told you not to. I'm going to throw you through a building now. I really don't think that would have happened.
No, he wouldn't have done that. He would have tried, like you said, to throw him in jail, but guess what? Batman would have had his kryptonite, and that's when it turns into a fight. He would have been like, okay, I'm taking you in now, but Batman's in his robot suit, and he's got the kryptonite, and of course, this is just me trying to apply common sense here, but because there's no common sense in this movie, it probably would have happened some other stupid way. So we don't know, but from what I'm assuming would have happened, he would have showed up, tried to throw him in jail, like you were saying, but Batman would not allow that to happen, so we would have used kryptonite, and then that's when it turns into a fight, instead of just Superman throwing Batman in jail.
So here's my fundamental argument, though, is that the conflict, and again, Civil War on its own, it has great action. It's a pretty good script. I think RDJ is a little bit iffy, maybe in like that scene where he's with Cap and he raises his voice. I think he was like a little off there.
Well, that's the best performance since Iron Man 1 to me.
He was good overall. But I mean, yeah, that's just kind of the way I took it. So but what I'm saying is the acting's good, right? The script is good. The action is good. Way too much comedy in the airport scene. But this movie could have been fixed. But the reason that I gave it a 5.5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 is that the backbone of this film, it's broken. It lacks gravity and weight. It's way too playful. And in a movie titled Civil War, there has to be an actual war going on. And if the last 20 minutes, that mood of these guys are really going at it, and Bucky's trying to rip into Iron Man's heart, basically, that would have been. That if they applied that to the airport scene, and if all the characters were against one another, I'm not saying that erase the Black Widow Hawkeye stuff where they're like, yeah, they don't really hate each other, they have no reason to fight each other, but all in all, both sides are against each other. That would have been way better. So and compared to Batman v Superman, which has weight in the conflict, both characters have their reasons to fight each other, even if you don't, maybe their motives aren't great. At least they're there in terms of the conflict. And Batman is really, really stuck in his ways, and he's the one that's causing the fight because he's so stubborn and he can never admit when he's wrong. That's just Bruce Wayne, though. That's how he is. So, and also Lex Luthor is in my opinion, a way better villain, but I can't really convince you that. So that's why in summary, my final thoughts. That's why I thought that Civil War was really bad, and everything about it was good except for the premise of the backbone, the core of the film is flawed, and then that makes the action weightless, and it makes everything surrounding the movie, I think, feel erroneous. But
alright, so you're mad.
Boom.
What I see, what you're saying is you wanted more Avengers Civil War than Captain America Civil War. You wanted sort of how Batman v Superman, instead of focusing on Batman v Superman, they focused on Dawn of Justice. You wanted them, instead of focusing on Captain America, to focus on Civil War.
No, I wanted there to actually be a war.
Yes, because the thing is, in this movie, they focused more on the Captain America aspect, and I like that because that was one of my concerns about this movie was I was like, they're gonna not make it a Captain America movie, but they did. In the end, it was a Captain America movie. It was more focused on Captain. I like that. Unlike Batman v Superman, where it's titled Batman v Superman, and the Batman v Superman part is about 8 minutes long, and that's basically all we got. And the rest of it was like a Batman movie slash setting up for Justice League slash Batman and Wonder Woman emailing each other. And it's like, okay, whatever you want to do with that. But with Civil War, we actually got conflicting ideals, which is what I wanted to see in Batman v Superman. We got this guy who's incredibly dark, beats the crap out of thugs, because this was me going into it before knowing he murdered people. But
Right.
this guy who's very dark, beating the crap out of thugs, breaking bones, to where Superman, this guy who prefers to be more on the side where people very open, people get to see what he's doing. He's not trying to hide anything while at the same time not being a government stooge or being controlled by the government, and seeing those conflicting ideals, day versus night. I wanted to see that. We didn't get that. In Civil War, we got that. Tony was on his breaking point. All the stuff he had gone through, and he's like, okay, we need to be put in check after all this stuff's happened. We need someone to watch this. And then Steve Rogers, he was just going on the fact that he's a soldier. He knows what this is like. He's like, people have agendas. Our safest hands are still our own. We need to just stay together, not be separated, not be controlled by these people. What if there's a scenario where they won't send us? What if they send us to the wrong place? This is just, no, it's not going to work. We're not going to be these government stooges. And I like that. We saw conflicting ideals. I really love that. Well, yes, it was only really between Tony and Steve. It's still, we got to see it between the two characters that we wanted to see most fight, unlike Batman v Superman, to where they didn't really like at the end fight, instead of seeing them both going at it, Superman didn't really want to fight him and Batman did, and Superman was just like, eh. Instead, we got Superman sort of like half-assing it while Batman was going all into it, and it's like, yeah, this is the epic battle I waited so long for. Yep, that's it. To where Civil War, we got that. We saw Iron Man beating the crap out of Captain America, and Captain America going, I could do this all day. I was like, yes, that's what I wanted to see. This is intense. This is exactly what I wanted, but we did not get that in Batman v Superman.
Okay, I disagree with you about the end, because the fight only lasts for like 90 seconds in fairness. And if they had that, if the two, Cap and Iron Man had that same veracity against one another, they were trying to do the amount of harm that they were to each other in the airport fight, and whatever reason makes them, hate each other earlier in the movie, then it would have been better. But the problem, the movie really collapses after the exposition, and furthermore, the movie has no resolution, non-existent, and basically they beat the crap out of each other. I thought that Cap actually killed Iron Man, because I thought his shield went in deep enough, but it apparently didn't. And then I guess he writes a love letter to him, and then they're done, and then they're back on their feet and ready to go, and then Cap and Black Panther, who were just trying to fight each other in the airport scene, who never spoke again besides at the very end, and they're friends now. It's like, yay, ready for Infinity War. So the movie has no resolution, and also the rising action just before the big fight, I think, is lackluster, but especially the ending. There's no resolution. It's like, okay, we're done fighting now. That was fun. Make sure to buy our Spider-Man toys. Yay!
Death of Superman in about 5 minutes. One of the best Superman storylines of all time, and they rush it in 5 minutes in a movie titled Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. One of my favorite Superman storylines ever, and one of my favorite characters. They treat his death like it's nothing. They're like, hey, we'll just throw it in there because we can throw all these cool storylines in here, because I'm Zack Snyder and I want to show stuff that's cool. So let's just throw in one of the biggest moments in comics ever. It was huge. They killed Superman. In this movie, I didn't care at all that they killed my favorite hero. I was just like, what is this? Why would you do this garbage? That deserved its own movie. Instead, they throw Doomsday in there, and he's like this weird idiot, and I don't get what Doomsday was all about. He just exploded and was like, hey, it was like the video game Evolve. Literally, he exploded and he evolved. And that was so stupid. That's not the way Doomsday is. And then they fight. Superman's getting the crap kicked out of him. Well, first off, Doomsday fight never needed to happen. And if the American government wouldn't have been like, hey, let's nuke it. Why did they nuke him? If Superman's literally taking him out to space. It's over now. Movie done. Superman's not dead.
The government hates Superman. The government doesn't like Superman any more than not any less than Doomsday, but they don't care about him. They're like, yeah, if he dies.
This Doomsday guy's bad news, and so hey, he's getting rid of him. Our job's done. Why don't we nuke Superman when he comes back? If they hate Superman that much, nuke him when he comes back.
When he comes back. That's
Like,
pretty
well,
funny.
that's because your explanation is that they hate Superman, so just nuke him when
No,
he
it's not
comes
that they
back.
hate Superman.
And they
It's just
couldn't
that
even
they
stick
don't
to their
care.
convictions. At the end, they're like, okay, we'll show the casket, we'll show the dirt floating. They couldn't even stick to their convictions. It's like, oh, well, you killed Superman, but then not really, because we know he's coming back, but you can't even end it with Superman dead. You got to do that.
Well,
And then we got Lex with snot running out of his nose. Ding, ding, ding. I was like, what is this? This guy is not Lex Luthor. Like, that was so stupid. And there's just so much
okay.
disrespect to Superman in that movie.
Okay,
Same with Batman as well.
one thing about him in the jail, we really needed that communion scene because that scene makes no sense without the communion scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. I know you still want to like it, but still, you would agree that it would make more sense if they showed
It
that
would
because
make more
otherwise,
sense.
it looks like he's just gone crazy in jail. So as per as per why they did Superman death, I understand to a degree, but at the same point, I think
Two movies in,
okay,
they kill Superman. We barely got to know him at all.
but I think it's vital for his arc because previously humanity viewed him as this god and just this alien being, and it's vital that mankind is behind Superman going into Justice League.
Why would they
And
be
we
behind
see
him?
it's very
He's
symbolic.
completely unrelatable in Batman v Superman. He was a god with god problems.
Okay,
There was no relatability for
but
him
it's
in Batman v
very
Superman.
symbolic. You even see, look up the stages of Jesus' crucifixion. There's a lot of similarities, even like Mary touching his face and everything else like that. It is his transformation, pretty much literally from a god to a human. That is his arc. And even before the Justice League assembles, he says that being Doomsday, he's from my world. At that point, Krypton. But even then, before he goes to give himself up as a martyr of humanity, he says, "This Earth is my world." That's his kind of
Because
metaphorical
of Lois.
Yeah.
Lois is the only thing he's got because again he's an unrelatable god.
And
He doesn't care about
mankind.
anyone else. It's like, hey,
No, he does.
Lois
He's
is
a lover
my
of
world.
humanity.
That's why he left partway through the movie because humanity was criticizing him for saving people, so he needed to go cry, and his dad gave him like the worst analogy in the world. Why'd Ghost Dad show up, by the way? Like, I know Batman's a pill popper and just constantly tripping balls, so that makes sense why he's just freaking about stuff.
It was symbolic.
You tell okay.
Personification.
If
Come
Captain
on.
America's dad would have shown up, you would have been
I
criticizing
would
that,
have
but
been
like, what?
criticizing it. I would have.
But in this, Superman's dad shows up, and it's just like, what is going on? Superman, you been hanging out with Batman too much? Because Batman's just like constantly tripping balls. Those scenes were pretty cool. Like when he went all Punisher, Mad Max, that was awesome. I was like, yeah, give me this guy. Like Zack Snyder needs to make a Punisher movie. That's what he would be good at.
Yeah, but the problem with that scene is that it's supposed to show. Okay, now I'm starting to bash my own movie. We should probably end this section. Okay, so the problem with that though is that Bruce Wayne, Batman, it's supposed to contrast like in a dystopian future, Batman compulsively kills, and it's like, wait a minute, he does in the regular movie
Yeah,
too. We're
it's
already
like just nothing
there.
changed.
Okay, so that about wraps it. Do you have any other thoughts? I mean, that pretty much lays it on the table for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the final part of our discussion. We talked for like 44 minutes. It was a lot of fun. Really had tons of fun discussing this movie with Slcmof because this all started because he was like ranting about Civil War on Twitter. I was like, you know what, we should do a discussion. So I messaged him and we did, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys really enjoyed watching the videos. And part 1 and part 3 are in his channel, so if you missed those, go check them out. And part 2, I already posted on my channel. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments below which one do you prefer and why. And I'll see you guys later.